Welcome back to the Acoustic Shop channel. I am John here with Jeremy. Today we are going to be reintroducing the Eastman PCH2. Going to tell you all about it, all the specs, all the things that is new, the things that have changed, and we're going to tell you a little bit about what we love about it, what you might love about it, and who it's for. All that's going to come up right after this. So it is Eastman PCH time, and we had a lot of fun right there. We were making pottery in the background.
Back so many memories.
You can catch an entire video with that performance on it if you'd like. In the links down below, you can hear the Unchained melody.
And speaking of Unchained, if you want to skip us talking on an Unchained sort of ranting, and you want to skip all the specs and all that, which I don't know why you would. Why would you
why would you do that?
We do have a tone sample at the end of the video, so please don't leave a comment that we talk too much and play too little. We are doing it our way.
Yeah, that's all I know how to do.
I did it my way. That's the next song.
Oh, there you go. All right.
Anyway, yes, John, the PCH2, it's been around, but something's new, right?
Yeah, so the PCH line is Eastman's line to get into the most affordable
By the way,
world.
Pacific Coast Highway, that's what it means.
That is true.
When you say, what's PCH?
Oh, there you go.
Pacific Coast Highway, that's out in California.
So the PCH
beautiful
one,
drive, by the way.
It is actually beautiful.
Clifton.
Are you going to keep doing this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. The PCH line started as a affordable way to get into the Eastman guitars by way of giving you a laminate sides and back with a solid spruce top. So they were doing a mahogany laminate back and sides with a spruce, Sitka spruce top. Like you said, open pore finish. The gig bag came, well, originally did not come with, and then they actually added that as a value, making a really cool, around the $300 price point guitar. Originally, these guitars were a hand voice guitar, at least that's what they said. They're no longer saying that, interestingly enough in the specs, but I still find them are going to be still a hand-built guitar. Closer to, I would say grouping them in, kind of like Martin and Taylor do, where they kind of grade the tops and build accordingly. That's probably my guess on this, although they may still be doing it as hand voice. Heck, I don't know.
They just left it off the website description.
They might have.
The good thing is they are coming in very consistent, so whether they're hand voicing each top or they're kind of coming up with a standard for the price range, just a killer guitar.
So then about 2 years ago, they came out with the PCH2 and the PCH3 series. The PCH2 came out with a laminated rosewood guitar. So now your back and sides were rosewood, and then you still had a satin finish top, Sitka spruce top on there. Then came the PCH3, which was kind of their fancy models, and originally they came out with some limited ones. They did a Koa, and they did that one wood with the pretty reds and the a Coca-Cola. That's what it was. Trent. And thanks, Trent. Appreciate that. And then they even did a maple, which stuck. The maple, and only in the GACs now, I believe, are those. So that was kind of a cool thing because it gave you some really cool laminates that were looking more beautiful. Then gave you the appointments of the gloss all the way around, the abalone rosette, and all that kind of cool stuff.
And still keep the price range under $500,
I think they were like $600, somewhere in there. The big change came when we had this kind of tariff/taxing situation with CITES and rosewood, and everything got really hard to do, and it then became unaffordable for Eastman to ship the PCH2 line because of the rosewood costs of taxes and tariffs and whatnot. And I don't know all that. It was all weird. But so they discontinued the line. Then things loosened up, and then this year they decided to announce that they're going to reintroduce the PCH2, giving us a laminate rosewood sides and back, but this time with a gloss top. And the other exciting thing is now all PCH guitars are thermo-cured spruce tops, so solid thermo-cured spruce tops. So now you're getting a thermo-cure or torrefication on your top. You now get the full gloss top with that satin finish on the back and sides. So, Jared, let's get into the specs here a little bit. This guitar comes in pretty value. No, not those ones. The specifications of these guitars. This comes in at a very good value price at $432. The Grand Auditorium you're holding right there is roughly about $40 more,
got a
but
pickup.
does come with a pickup, so that kind of gives a little bit add there. It does have that thermo-cured Sitka spruce top, like what we talked about, with a laminated rosewood sides and back. The neck is actually mahogany, unlike the PCH1, which has a maple neck. You do get the white binding on here with a rosewood fretboard and bridge. That's pretty nice. You do have a dual acting truss rod, so that I definitely find to be great, as well as a bone nut and saddle. Gosh, at that price point, that is awesome, because
Lots of
now
good you'd features,
be
yeah.
a couple $100, $200 in those features alone. Now it is an X-brace guitar, which is to be expected, scallop braced and voiced. The True Tone gloss finish on this, as well as a satin. Now,
The ping tuners on
yeah,
that?
ping tuners on this, which on these is going to be your sealed style tuners, unlike some of the other series that have the open geared tuners. That's kind of a cool thing. And another great thing, is like we talked about earlier, now the PCHs do come with a gig bag, and it's not a bad gig bag. It's actually got quite a bit
We
of.
actually sell a bunch of the gig bags as its own standalone
Separately.
product, and we do
Absolutely.
really well with those, because they're probably about 3/4 of an inch thick of foam and just really protected, good neck block in
I
there.
believe
so-
the PCH bags are about a 1/2 inch, but of high density foam. They'll stand up on their own. Do have neck support, so that's a really, really good add-on. It does have a basic C shape, but it's a very low profile on the PCH. Again, knowing that it's going to be more beginner style players are going to like that small neck shape in there, with a nut width of 1 3/4 inches. It does have the 25.5 inch scale length. So full scale length on these guys as well. Again, on that guy, does have the pickup. And now they're giving that really cool preamp on the inside that gives you volume, tone, and even a phase button and a battery notification as well. So for about $40 difference, you're going to get into the GACE with the cutaway.
$470 for these ones?
Yeah, and then, like I said, a little bit less on both the Dreadnought and the OM. One thing I really, really like about this is we're not dealing with crummy wood choices. I mean, look at this one right here. This is pretty impressive. Look at the bear claw in this
And even
top.
in the laminate wood
Yeah,
on the back, I mean, that's,
These are-
that's
these are-
pretty gorgeous wood. Something you'll be proud to see and pick up and play. Who would you say these are meant for? I mean, it's a probably a dual market.
I see two markets for the PCH series, and I have for a long time. Obviously, a person who is wanting to get serious but is at a beginner budget price, because that's what these kind of are. We've said from the beginning of our shop, I don't recommend ever getting a fully laminate guitar. I think you should at least get a solid top. These having a thermo-cured solid top that has been hand scalloped and hand built with the laminate, and then you want a darker, richer tone, because that rosewood is going to sound a little thicker, a little bit bigger in the low end with that more scooped mid-range. Just going to kind of give you a little bit more of that rosewood tone. So that's for that beginner who's wanting just the best kind of value guitar. But I also see a dual use for this, which is the person who has a really nice guitar but needs a camping guitar. And I have seen this
Road trip.
many, many times. Something really light, throw on their back, don't want to spend a whole bunch of money and take it out to those
Two advantages
jam
of that,
sessions.
obviously the cost, you're
Yeah.
not as concerned about something happening. But laminate, there is a place, I think, for laminate guitars where they're less susceptible to weather and climate change and humidity. So that, being plywood with different grains going different ways is very unlikely for a crack to show
form,
up
yeah.
and develop
Absolutely.
Along the grain, because it cross grains. So a little bit more stable, and also from getting bumped on the road and banged by kids or dogs or riding down the trailer. So a good travel guitar, a good thing to have out there that you're not so concerned about, but it's also going to hold up better than a solid wood guitar.
And they also just play well. I can see these being played. I like the GAC. I can see that being part of a worship team's guitars to have around
and leave on the stage.
And leave on the
We've had a lot of them
stage.
get knocked over on stages.
Sure, and yet still has a really good pickup in it, and something that is definitely multi-use. So, these are. I've been impressed with the PCH series since they came out. They kind of give us that option of not just being a beginner's guitar, but actually a pretty darn just good overall guitar. Now, is this as good as their top of the line series? Absolutely not.
But we have found, I think, that a lot of our students and first-time buyers that come in the shop that buy this guitar, play for a few years, and then just decide it's time to upgrade, they normally don't want to trade this in. They
don't.
keep it as, hey, I can leave this one out in my living room, and my dog always knocks it over, but I love the guitar. It's easy to play on. It's something I can practice on.
Don't let your dog knock your
It
stuff
happens,
over.
but
Don't do
the
it.
cat. But you know, it's one of those guitars that you're just going to pick up and play a lot, and then they've got their really nice one that they normally keep in the case and protect a little bit better.
Now, as for tone, obviously, it's not as big sounding as the E1 series. That's all solid. All solid wood guitars are going to give you more. They're just going to have overall more presence, and they're going to continue to grow into an even better guitar. Where this will grow, don't get me wrong, but 75% of this body is plywood. It's not going to do as much by any means. So I would say, you know, again, good guitar. It's not a pro level.
It's not going to replace a high-end guitar.
It's just definitely not.
That wasn't really the goal.
Yep. Some things that I was not so thrilled about. What I loved about it. Let me do that first. Before I get into that, I like the gloss top. I know we've talked about this before. I think it gives you more definition, gives you more character, and definitely more front projection and controlled. I don't know. Selfishly, I wish it had a full gloss, but I understand price point. It makes sense. So I guess it's a good thing to be right in the middle. Give me that gloss top with the laminate side or the satin back and sides. Kind of gives me a little bit of both worlds there. Let's go ahead and get to our ratings here, and we'll kind of get you laid out, Jer, on a scale of 1 to 5. Where would you put this as far as tone?
For tone in a laminate back and side guitar, it's got a really good punchy sound to it. I think having that torrefied top probably improved them quite a bit. It's really opened up the top a bunch. I mean, for me, you know, I'm a smaller body guitar player anyway. I really like the GACE. It's got a pretty full tone on that. I mean, you heard my Unchained Melody.
That was pretty darn good. Yeah, absolutely.
I got a new chord that I've never done before.
Very good. All
I
right,
can do that on another guitar.
So where are you rating it?
I'll put it at a 4.
In this price range, I'm gonna have to give it a 4 as well. There's not a whole lot that I would know that's a whole lot better. I'm just not able to kind of put it in a 5-star rating because I know that this
leave
is
yourself room.
Yeah, absolutely. So setup and playability. This is where I'm going to lean a little bit higher. I think these are set up almost perfectly for the segment that they are after. They set them up pretty darn low, lower than I would normally play a guitar like this. So for me, I'm going to give it a 4.5 as far as its setup and playability. They really do a good job of getting these up and running.
I agree with that. I'll probably match you there about 4.5.
There you go. Build quality, again, I like that they did the gloss top. I love the abalone. And for most people, I don't think they're going to see anything in these guitars that they're going to be very disappointed in. So again, I'm going to go with a 4.5.
Yeah, I mean, without sounding like we're just always rating Eastman higher than they should be, I think if you get a chance to play one, you would agree that this definitely deserves a 4.5 to a 5, I think. I can't really find, in this price range, I can't find flaws on this guitar.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking for an open pour, obviously save some money, but they do a good job with the open pour. It looks attractive.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give this a 5, personally.
All right, well, there you go. He's
In
going even bigger.
comparables.
And yes, again, this is all based on in this grouping of pricing of instruments we see in there. All right. So last, the aesthetics. Again, I already gave my opinion. I wish it was a full gloss one for myself. So with that said, I'm going to give it a 4. I think you're going to probably go higher than that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. If that's a total personal preference, I've been surprised since we had the shop how many people just kind of like the subdued look of satin and don't really want something that's really shiny. And some of them were even a little sad at the top, switch to a gloss finish.
Now, one of the things that we want to put into this aesthetic conversation is these tops. I mean, look at this top, though, on this. Yeah. So
they're not cutting out on wood selection. Even, like I said, torrefied really brings those grains out well in it. The attractiveness, I mean, even in this price range, doing that, what was that, a 5-ply binding? They're not really cut corners, even real abalone on the rosette rather than just like a hologram sticker that a lot of the other companies do.
That is true.
I'm going to put it at a 5.
All right. There you go. All right, and as far as our shop sustainability, again, we know the company pretty well. They do a pretty darn good job of that. They do source their woods pretty well. So I think this one does fall in our shop sustainable, and we will kind of give it a pass with that in mind because, again, we've kind of followed their journey in how they source their woods and excuse me, some of the
mills that they
mills
use
and
for
stuff.
their,
Yep.
So we plant one tree for every one of these. They fit in that shop sustainable category.
All right, overall value. This is the last one, Jared. What do you think?
Again, coming back to that video and all the comparisons we did, I had a few surprises in that video that I thought I wasn't expecting. But Eastman still for overall value with
But
the
the
gig
$400 price range, we had nothing.
yeah, and with a pickup built in this for $470, gig bag, lifetime warranty, bone nut saddle. I put this right at a 5. You can't get a better guitar for the price.
I'm gonna have to do it. I know we're gonna get flack about it, but I agree with that absolutely. So what we're going to do right now is get you guys a little bit of a tone sample so you can hear what they're like and let you hear, I guess, all 3 of these models. I'll just give you a little bit of a sample of each one so you know exactly what the PCH2 is all about.
So if you like this, I have mentioned a few times about that. We scoured the internet and found out what the internet recommended as the top 10 entry-level acoustic guitars, and we went online and ordered each one of those that we didn't already have in stock and did a comparison, and there were some prizes and a huge disappointment. You guys want to watch that video? If you enjoyed this, I think you'll really enjoy that, especially if you're out buying your first guitar. Some really good information in there to give you some comparisons. So check out that video here, the top 10 guitars according to the internet for the beginner player.